All right, good to see you again. Today's objective is I can find notes in the treble clef. This time we're going to combine lines and spaces. But before we get there, look at the responses as last week worksheet. Okay, so just as a review, I want to go over what are the lines. Again, the lines are the notes that are in the line, so it has a line across the circle. The spaces, it is in between the line, so I have it color coded here. If you remember, or if you go back to our previous worksheet, we know that lines are the bottom line, right? The one at the very bottom is the note E. Then we have G, the second line. B, our third line. D, our fourth line. And F, our fifth line. Right, and it could be also remembered as every good boy does fine, or every good boy does fudge. Whatever helps you remember the notes. But this is the order of the note: E, G, B, D, F. First line, second line, third line, fourth and fifth. E, G, B, D, F. Now the spaces, you're gonna fill the gaps, right? And now it makes sense because before we did the lines, then we did the spaces. Now we're gonna put them together, and it will make more sense. So one note goes in between E and G. If we think of the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now we know that our musical alphabet ends in G. That is our last note of our musical alphabet. So where do we begin again? A. Good, so we have F, first space, A, second space. What letter goes between B and D? C. And then what letter goes between D and F? E. And that's pretty much it. You have now the whole sequence of the treble clef. From the very bottom, E, first line, F, first space, G, second line, A, second space, B, third line, C, third space, D, fourth line, E, fourth space, and then F, fifth line. I believe I mentioned this last time, but some of you might say, but Mr. Augusto, what is the difference between the bottom E and the higher E? Right? Let's say that we take these two into consideration. One is in the line, the other one is in the space. Well, this E sounds lower than this one, right? Because if we go to the piano, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, this one sounds higher. The same goes with F. This F sounds lower than this F. So let's give it a try. Let's practice a few of these. Our first note here is on the second space, space number 1 and 2. Let's go back to our reference chart. I have first space, second space. I know that my second space is the note A. All right, A. You can do the second one in two ways. You can look where it is. It is the third line, so I go 1, 2, 3, third line. It is the note B. Or you can follow the sequence because this note is right next to each other. So I know that after A goes B. Let's look at this one. This is the fifth line. It's the very top line. So I know it's the note F. Now the sequence can go up, but the same goes in backwards, in reverse. So I can look at this note and I know there is a space number 1, 2, 3, 4. So space number 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4. I know it's the note E, but I also know that before F is E, F, E. So you get the same result. Either you see the big picture, all the notes as a sequence, or you can go back in and find that specific position. And then we know that this third line is B. That's the first note that I learned, by the way. Middle line, B. Let's give another set of notes. Fourth line, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. This line is D. Okay, fourth line, D. Now I know this one is on the third space, So I can do the sequence backwards, and I know it's before D comes C. But if I also need to double check, I can go to the third space, 1, 2, 3, oh, C, and you get the same result. Second line, first line, second line is a note G. Ran out of ink. I also know this is the first space, so I know that is before G. What letter comes before G is F. If I need to double check, first space, F. And this note here is tricky because it's under. Please pay attention to this one because you're going to see in the worksheet. Look down below. This note is right here. Is before the letter E. That's what is called a ledger. It happens outside of the staff. Okay? But it still follows the order. So if I know this letter here is E, what letter comes before? Is D. We can also apply that example on top. If I know this last note is F, therefore the next one will be G. But this D in particular, right? Same one. Pay attention because you're going to see in the worksheet for today. So again, number 1, wash your hands. Number 2, send me the work on my email, link down below. I know times are difficult. I know that we're gonna complete the school year in this distant learning. So if there's anything else that I can do for you, if there's any topic that you want me to touch in this new way of learning, please shoot me an email. Stay safe. I'll see you next week.